Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today we're going to talk about one of the best springtime bass fishing lures of all time and the best setup to go along with it. So what we're going to be talking about today is the Fluke or soft plastic jerkbait, or whatever you want to call it. This one here is not a Fluke. This is going to be the 6th Sense Flush, but you could use a Fluke just as well. You can use a caffeine shad. There's a ton of them out there. Just a soft plastic jerkbait. If you're not fishing this when that water gets like 55 degrees and above, for pre-spawn, spawning, and post-spawn fish, you're making a huge mistake. They absolutely love this bait this time of year. It's a killer for catching them, especially on a day like today. It's sunny, it's calm, those fish are gonna be up there shallow, sunning themselves, but if you throw something too aggressive in there, they're gonna realize it, especially this water's crystal clear we're fishing today. They're gonna see what that bait is. They're gonna get a good look at it. But right now, there's a ton of perch and bluegills up there, and this can imitate them perfectly and just get a subtle strike from them on that clear water. The other thing this soft plastic jerkbait does very well is actually bed fishing, and then on top of that, for post-spawn fish, if you have shad in your lake, it works excellent on a shad spawn. You just switch your colors. You can use a white color or something like that, and it'll imitate those shad perfectly. So you can do all kinds of stuff. Any type of forage you could have in your lake, any type of fish, they will eat this Fluke, and they absolutely cannot resist it throughout the spring. So let's run through the setup here, and then we're gonna go out on the water. We'll show you how and where to fish it, and we'll hopefully catch some fish along the way. Ultimately, like I said, this is a soft plastic jerkbait, so I'm gonna fish it on jerkbait gear. So I have a Icon topwater and jerkbait rod right here. This is literally what I fish my jerkbaits on. It's a 7-foot medium extra fast action. The extra fast is gonna give you that snap to make this thing dart around really nice and draw that reaction bite. But that medium power is just heavy enough to drive that hook in and be able to get a good hook set and land those fish. Sometimes I'll go up to a medium heavy to really get a good hook set if I'm fishing for some bigger fish or some ones that have some tougher mouths. You just have to play around with that. This rod has enough backbone to it that I can get a good hook set with it. I'm fishing 12-pound test fluorocarbon to allow this bait to get down in the water. The thinner your line diameter, the deeper this bait's gonna get, so I want it to get down just a little bit deeper. The heaviest I'll ever really go is 15-pound test. I don't fish anything heavier than that. 12 to 15 is really where I'm gonna stay with that. So that's what we're fishing there. I have a Corrado MGL 150. This is the 7:4 gear ratio here, so I can pick up slack quickly and reel it in and make new casts. A lot of times I'll literally cast to cruising fish with this bait, so you'll want to reel it in really fast and get that bait right back in front of that fish to try and get them to react to it. And then I have a 5/0 extra wide gap worm hook here, and then this is the 6th Sense Flush that I have. Like I said, there's a lot of bluegills and perch up shallow today, so we're using bluegill colors. The one I have on here right now is watermelon red. Have a bunch of other bluegill colors that I could fish as well, and we'll see how they'll react to it today. So that's the setup, that's the gear. It's really, really simple. You probably already have the rod and reel to throw this thing. You probably already have the bait too. It's one of the most popular baits of all time, and it absolutely catches fish anywhere. Ponds, creeks, lakes, does not matter. So let's go throw this thing around for some pre-spawn fish and see if we can catch us a couple on the 6th Sense Flush right here. All right, so now that we talked about the gear you need and how to rig up this Super Fluke, or this is a Flush right here, whatever kind you're using, let's go ahead and start fishing it around and see if we can catch us a couple. There are a lot of fish up around the docks right now. They're starting to suspend, and we already got one. Okay, point proven, this thing works in the spring. We're gonna get him off. That was awesome. That took like 0.2 seconds. That was actually my first cast with it. And we're gonna talk more about this guy right here, and we may be onto something. We'll see. It's been tough today, but that might be a clue. Like I said, a lot of these fish are suspended around these docks. I'm seeing them all in this cover here. They're chasing bait, there's bluegills up there, but they're really just not biting. They're in that weird pre-spawn phase where they're just about to lock on beds. Like literally in the next day or two, they're gonna be on beds in this same area, but they're not quite there yet. So we're just gonna go ahead. I absolutely love fishing a Fluke this time of year. I already got more fish on it. Oh my gosh. I love fishing a Fluke this time of year because it just absolutely makes them come unglued on this thing. They can't stand it. For some reason, they love this thing darting around up there, and they just can't resist to bite it. If it comes near them, they're gonna launch on this thing, and it'll catch all fish, big or small. It's one of my favorite pond fishing baits ever. Like if I'm ever going to a pond for the first time and walking around it, first thing I'm tying on is a Fluke, and I'm just gonna walk around and twitch it. Fish will show themselves that you don't even know are there. They'll come up, they'll chase it, they'll come after it, and you can catch a bunch of fish doing that. So let's keep tossing it around and see what we can do here. You'll notice I'm not really twitching this bait this much. I'm really trying to make it just look like something dying, and since it's weightless, it's really just floating in front of these fish's face. I don't want it kind of blowing out of the water. Honestly, even though that fish did eat it that time, if he would have eaten it when it was down in the water, he probably would have gotten it much better. So I try not to get this thing popping out of the water. When you start twitching it too much, that's when it really blows out of the water and really loses the fish's interest. When that thing's down in there darting in their face, they really want it. But as soon as it starts flopping on the surface, for some reason they just do not want it once it starts doing that. So I try to keep it from doing that by just working it really slow and light with gentle twitches, and oftentimes they can't resist. So see if we can get another one. That thing was massive that tried to eat that thing. So if there's one big one that wants it, there's more. All right, you guys are gonna get a little bonus tip today. Because I'm losing a bunch of fish on this fluke. So sometimes the Texas rig does not work. It's just, you lose a lot of fish doing so, but there's a way you can rig this up to catch even more fish on it. So what we're gonna need, I've done a video on this before, but we're gonna show you again just in case you haven't seen that video. So you're gonna need your fluke, which we're gonna grab right here. And then we're gonna go in the back here in my little secret compartment. We're gonna get us a treble hook, so we don't lose any more fish, because I had some big blow-ups on that and they came off. So we don't want that to happen anymore. So we're gonna grab us a VMC size 4 round bend treble. Now we're gonna do a couple more things here to make sure that we do not lose any more fish today on this fluke. First thing we're gonna do is we're gonna add a little lead to this hook, just so I can keep it down in the water column. We're gonna do that before we put the bait on, just because it's a little bit easier. So we're gonna go ahead, I'm literally gonna do like 4 wraps of lead on here, and I can always take a couple off. All right, so that's good for me. We're gonna break that end off. That's it, just enough to get it down in the water column so that we can get some more hookups. Then we're gonna take one of these guys, steel rivet. We're gonna grab our pliers and we're gonna pop the collar off of here. So you're gonna take this little rod right here, and we want our bait or our hook to come out right here. So we're gonna come in from the back and we're gonna draw a line, and we're gonna go straight out the nose of the bait where we want our bait to live. You're gonna do that a couple times. Clear out some of that plastic for your line to go through. And then once you get that cleared out, you're gonna take this rivet here, which is a little long, but we'll make it work. You're gonna push it up into the head here. And then it's gonna come out the nose. When it comes out the nose here, you wanna make sure that's all clear. So that's all clear. There's nothing in there obstructing our line. So we're gonna take our line, go straight down through that collar we just put in there. We're gonna slide that up our line so that it's just on the line hanging out. And you can use a split ring if you want to. I'm just gonna direct tie it because I don't feel like putting a split ring on here right now. But you can use a split ring if you want to, just to add a little extra length to the shank of your hook so that it hangs back further in the bait. These fish are pretty explosive on it. It's just that single extra wide gap just isn't enough for them to actually hook up. So then all I'm gonna do is take a single prong of this treble hook, and I'm just gonna push it into the plastic of the bait, and I got 2 prongs hanging off the belly there. When they bite this, they are getting hooked. Like, there's no doubt in my mind these fish are gonna get hooked. So the last thing to do is just check the action in the water, make sure it's sinking where you want it to. That thing's darting exactly how I want it to. I actually probably could take the lead wire off, but we'll start with the lead wire and see what happens. So we've run out of docks, so let's go find some more. There's one. There we go. As soon as we switched up to that line through rig, we were able to actually land us one there. Obviously, a lot of the fish we were missing were little guys like this, but there were some big ones too that we missed because we didn't have enough hook gap there, but we'll throw him back. We're gonna see if we can get us another one here. There we go. Got that one. There's a giant under there. All right. I've said it before, but every time I think I can catch another one, that's technique dies. The water and everything is changing so fast today. I mean, we're up to 60-degree water temperature already. It's come up 5 degrees just today. I mean, I'm starting to see fish start staging up here to spawn. I'm sure there's probably even some on beds if we start looking like smallmouth. So we're gonna change it up techniques. They stopped biting the fluke, but I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, leave a like down below, hit that subscribe button. And if you wanna see some other fluke fishing rigs, check this video out right here. Other ways you can rig that fluke in addition to the 2 that we showed you today to catch more bass. I know that's not a big one, but you can definitely catch some big ones in the springtime fishing a fluke. See you, buddy.